Welcome back everyone. So in the last video, we solved user activity for the past 30 days, 1, which was 24th question in our SQL 50 series. And in this video, we are going to solve product sales analysis 3, which will be 25th question. So let's dive in. Okay, so in this question, we are given two tables, sales table and product table. And in the sales table, we have 5 columns, sale ID, product ID, year, quantity and price, in which the sale ID and year combination is the primary key, which means there is no duplicate entry in the table where the sale ID and year is same. And the product ID is a foreign key, which means if there is an entry which contain the product ID, then that product ID is for sure coming from the product table. Okay. And price is the price per unit, which means if there is X number of quantities, then the price is for a single quantity. So that's the sales table. And in the product table, we have two columns, product ID and product name. Each entry in this table shows the name of the product against its product ID. So now we have to write a solution, and in which we have to select product ID, year, quantity, price for the first year of each product. Okay. All these 4 columns come from the sales table, and we have to select these columns for the first year of every product sold. Okay. We can return the result in any order. So let's see first example. So in this example, we are given two tables, sales table and product table. The product table shows that we have three products, 100, 200 and 300. And in the sales table, we have only two products, that is 100, 200. Okay. Now, you see in the question it is asked that we have to select product ID, year, quantity and price for the first year of every product sold. Which means, okay, before that, if you have not solved our previous questions, I advise you to solve all the questions that we have solved previously, because this question is very much similar to those questions. If you solve those questions, you might be able to come to the solution yourself. So if you are able to solve this question, then that's good. But if you are not, then please continue this video. So in this question, we are asked product ID, year, quantity, price for the first year of every product sold. So it must be a first year and for every product. So what we have to do, since it is asking for every product, which means we have to group the table by product ID. So there will be two groups. The first group will be this, and the second group will be this. And from each group, we have to return product ID, year, quantity, price for the first year. So for example, in this group, which one is the first year? So the first year is 2008. So for the 2008, we have to return product ID 100, that is 100, year 2008, quantity 10, and price 500. And the second group will be this, where the product ID is 200, year is 2011, quantity is 15, and price is 9000. So what's the approach to solve this question? As I said, if you watched our previous videos, the solutioning of this question is very much similar to those. So what we will do is, we'll first create a temporary table which will store initial year of each product. So what we will do is select something from sales table. Okay. So we'll select and we'll group by what product ID. And in doing so, we can select product ID from each group, which will be common since we are grouping by product ID, and minimum of year, which will give us the first year. First year. Okay. So let me run the query to show you the result. So we'll be having two entry, first for the 100 and second for the 200. So you see our output has two entries, first for the product 100 and second for the product 200. For the 100, the first year is 2008, and for the product 200, it is 2011. So when we group this table by product ID, we got this data, that is product ID, their first year. But can we use this same query to get the quantity also? I don't think so. Since you are grouping, you can select the product ID from the group, the minimum year from the group, but how will you select the quantity? Will you use minimum? Will you use maximum? Or is there any approach for that? So I don't think we can like select the quantity and price for the same. But if you know any approach to do so, Let me know in the comment section. So what we will do now is we'll store this in a temporary table, that is first year as this. Now what should we do next? Now we will join the sales table with the first year. And how should we join? So if you see this output and the sales table, and if you join the product ID in the sales table with the product ID in the output table, so let's see what we will get. So select something from sales, comma, what, first year table on a condition that sales dot product ID is equal to first year dot product ID. Let's see what will be the result. Okay, so select star from sales, join first year on condition that sales dot product ID is equal to first year dot product ID. So this is our result. So we got three entries. Okay, so in the result of this we got two entries for the product 100 and for the product 200. Okay, and their first year. Now we'll join the sales table with the right table. We got three entries. It's obvious because we have three entries in the sales table and two entries in the temporary table. So 100 is joined with the 100 two times, and then 200 is joined with the that 200. Okay, now what's important in the resulting table is this: we have product ID in the second column and there is also product ID in the last second column, which are same. But what we want to select is that if the product's first year, so the second table is our first year table. So this is our first year table. Okay, this one. So which shows the first year. Okay, and if that first year is equal to the year when the product is sold, then that entry is what we want. So you see the first year of the product 100 is 2008, and in the left table it is also 2008, which means this entry is valid entry. If you see second entry, it has year of sold as 2009, but the first year is 2008 obviously, so this entry is invalid. And for the seventh entry it is valid. So the other condition would be that sales dot year should be equal to first year dot first year, which will give us the entries which we want. Okay, so we got two entries for the product ID 100 and for the product ID 200. The year in the first table is equal to the first year in the second table. So these two are the valid entry, and from these entries we want to select product ID. And since product ID exists in the both the tables, we'll have to choose either table. So sales table, let's say sales table dot product ID, and we want to select year, which come from the first table, quantity again come from the first table, and price, which is also coming from the first table. So let's see if we are able to pass the test case. We got the wrong answer again, expected. So we have to return the year as first year. Okay, so test case has been passed. Now I'll try to submit this. Okay, so our solution got accepted. That's it. Thank you.